Hello everyone, it is Joe. This video will be a bit dark because I am spending my early afternoon working on my chakras and learning a lot. I am doing some lying down meditation, which is very relaxing and I find allows me to pay really good attention to my chakras, my energy centers, as well as my whole body. Whenever you're working with chakras, remember that looking at yourself as a collection of 7 or however many energy points, that's just one perspective. You're also a complete organism, and it helps to view your entire being, everything that you can feel, all of the sensations you can feel. Treat them all as one thing. So, that being said, it's a counter pose. Just like in yoga, you do a pose and then you bend the other way and do a counter pose, front to back, left to right. Looking at yourself as a whole being is a counter pose to looking at the different specific areas, physical energy centers of your body. When you get specific in one way, get general in another way. When you lean to the left, lean to the right. When you bend forward, bend backwards. When you work hard, play hard. When you are very intense, relax. So, anyway, this is going to be a darker kind of video. Let me see if I can lighten it up. I don't know if that made much of a difference. But just imagine you're laying here in bed with me and we are working on our chakras, giving each other advice and support. Imagine that we are helping each other. Imagine that we are loving each other. Imagine that we are, working together to heal ourselves and each other. And imagine that we are really taking the time that we need to grow. I could go out in the world. I could have gotten up earlier and gone out into the world and lived a similar day to yesterday. And I know that by taking the time to really work on myself and give myself a new level of openness, a new level of healing, that when I do go into the world today, I will have deeper, stronger, better results. I will have cooler connections. I will have easier work, play, social experiences that I have. Heck, I'll even digest my food better. Think about that. We have food going through us from one end to the other all the time. And we can become healthier by eating high quality food, by eating the food that our intuition tells us to eat. But also, by allowing our bodies to process this food and get the most out of it that we can, we gain more, right? We get so much more nutrition by relaxing. You can tell I'm really relaxed and talking slow right now. And I encourage you to think and talk slowly as well. When we think quickly, our mind says, oh, we're thinking quickly, we're panicking, we're trying to figure out something in a hurry so we can survive. And that fight or flight is the opposite of getting the most out of our experiences, healing, releasing energy, allowing a fount of energy to flow from us, taking in energy and putting out energy from the world, and just simply digesting our food. We have emotional blockages. We have physiological blockages that, well, we we simply live anyway. We simply go out into the world and try to survive and make money and make connections despite our blockages. We work around them as we work around stuff that doesn't work on our computers that, we don't think we have time or energy to figure out. And that's wise. Sometimes, if there's some weird little thing on your computer you don't understand, it's a little bit annoying, but it doesn't bother you that much, well, work around it. But ultimately, remember that you have all the time and energy you need, all the money and support you need, and you don't need to work around things anymore. You can actually clear them out and be whole. Whether that's Googling something on the computer till you figure it out, or contacting chat support, which I love. That's my favorite kind of computer support, is chat support. And inside us, inside our emotional bodies, our physiological attachments, anchors, triggers, inside all that stuff is the same way. We really do have time to clear everything out and feel good and whole. We have experiences, memories inside of us, inside our bodies, inside our minds, inside the way that our minds view our bodies, inside the nervous system in our bodies, which is the mind in the creature, right? There's so many ways to look at it, but ultimately, we are not wasting time when we invest our resources in ourselves. And that can quite simply mean investing in quiet time, sitting in a private, maybe a dark space like I'm doing now, and investing deeply in myself, because I know because I've done this kind of thing before. I know that when I dare to invest in myself, it pays off. I know that when I learn about myself, it pays off. I know that when I release pent-up emotion and allow myself to flush it out, let go of wastewater and allow fresh water to flow in, because fresh water is always flowing in. We take it in from our surroundings. We share it with other people. We give and take, accept water, clean, fresh emotional energy. And the trick is, of course, with other people, to give them our particular brand of fresh water. Every stream has impurities. Only the divine stream, I guess, is completely pure. And we have, come into this world where there are so many impurities in all of our streams. And we learn to flush them out and be clean. Think about it. If there's a stream that has been contaminated with some kind of nuclear waste or something, maybe very, very wise people could find ways to heal it, to clean it up, to freshen up that stream. Maybe they could clear out 99.9% of that waste or radiation or whatever it is. Still, there would be some. Still, there would be traces of old harmful chemicals, atoms, whatever you want to call them. And, wiser people still could clear those out. But anyway, what I'm saying is that there are many types of champions. And you have a particular history that you've accepted, memories that you've accepted into yourself. Some of them are healthy, some of them you can let go of and replace with better ones. We have physiological memories in our chakras that, well, we really need to, in the right time, allow ourselves to heal. And maybe you can hear it in my voice, both the healing and what remains to be healed. Like I said, there are many kinds of champions who have accomplished great feats in different arenas. There are champions of cancer. There are champions of sport. There are champions of, a drug addiction, or champions of parenting, champions of independence or collaboration. We all have different desires. We experience what we consider to be negative events, and they shape us because we've chosen those events, because we've chosen these lifetimes and these lifestyles. We all have a different shape. It's the difficult experiences that we choose are almost like a recipe. Like, I'm going to choose some bullying, I'm going to choose some, family drama, parental abuse. I'm going to choose some confusion, maybe some genetic predisposition to intelligence and naivety. I'm going to choose a particular path or a particular set of hurdles, set of challenges, and I'm going to, see how I can not just work around them to survive, which of course is necessary. If we don't survive, that's it, we're dead, we can't play the game. But that's only the first step of the game, is using our strengths and working around our limitations to survive. That's step one. The thing is, it creates a unique set of circumstances, a unique personality, especially at the beginning when we're very reactive and haven't worked on our personality much, just reacting to people the way that we, habituated as kids. So yeah, it's fascinating stuff, and we all have a unique set of, what can you say, difficulties, a unique set of troubles, and unique painful experiences. I've experienced my share of pain, primarily through the misguided ways that my father tried to, either indulge himself by power tripping on me in some kind of fucked up ways, or just maybe he thought he was trying to make me into a healthy person, or his version of a healthy person, through force and intimidation. I don't know. But regardless, through some of my predispositions, through my physical shape as a child, through social limitations that I've had, especially as a child, though I feel myself growing out of them, through my particular set of limitations, my mother's weakness, passivity, that kind of thing, that I both picked up on and also learned to expect from others, I guess. All those things, the way I dealt with my family struggles, the way that my brother dealt with our family struggles in a different way. All of those early experiences, the way I dealt with other children, all of those are so formative to us. We can change them. We can change those memories, and physical and mental, that reside within us. We can reframe them. We can, most importantly, release all of the coping mechanisms that we developed to deal with being kids in situations where we learn a lot from the world. We are shaped by the world, and people try to put us in certain boxes or teach us how to behave certain ways that aren't necessarily healthy for us. We learn coping mechanisms that aren't necessarily healthy for us, but that's what it is to be a child, because you're physically vulnerable. You haven't been in the world very long, so you can be very naive. You don't have economic freedom or independence. So, we become shaped the way that we do. And we spend the rest of our lives understanding that shape, accepting it, changing it when we want to, accepting it just as what it is, when that feels right, and learning both to heal it and to work around it. Working around our limitations to survive can be a good strategy, but some of us find that survival isn't enough. Living just to not die isn't really living. It doesn't feel good enough to be worth all the effort. Many societies push people to the edge of survival, because then, of course, they don't want to die. So they'll work really hard for low pay, or they'll accept disgrace, humiliation, lack of dignity, all the things that make other people feel good when they power trip, and doing that to survive, I understand. But I also understand walking away and knowing that whether or not I survive is important, but it's not the most important thing. And fear of death can make life very, very bland. If we don't risk, we won't enjoy rewards. And at some point, I think the lucky ones of us will realize that. Like, hey, maybe if we... what's the word? Maybe if we take a gamble, we might get something. Maybe there's a 99% chance of success, but a 1% chance of certain death, And maybe we take those gambles and go skydiving, ride our bikes on a busy street, go bungee jumping, or, whatever it is, something that's just a little bit dangerous, where we can enjoy it, but it's also a tiny bit of a gamble. And we learn our tolerance for risk. Don't gamble everything and die. You could take all the money you have, and gamble it away on like a 1% chance of like a big return and a 99% chance of losing all of your resources and being destitute. Um, Heck, even playing Russian roulette with your life. You could do that. Maybe someone would give you $1 million, you know, if there were, if you won the game, but then if you lost everything. You know, say there's a gun with like, I don't know, 100 bullets in the clip, and they take one out somewhere in the clip, but you don't know where. You don't know which one is going to be the empty one. Maybe one of them's a dud, and you don't know. As you can see, I don't know a ton about how guns work, so taking one out of a clip with the spring-loaded mechanism isn't going to work. I'm thinking that just imagine one bullet's a dud, and you don't know which, and you just have to take that gamble. You've got a gun with one dud in it, and 99 live bullets with an extremely large clip, right? And you start firing that gun, and then sometime, bang, 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 in the middle of all those shots, you point it at your head and pull the trigger, Either you're going to kill yourself, or you're going to get incredibly lucky and there's going to be that one dud. Would it be worth $1 million or $1 billion? Would it be worth your greatest dreams, your best health, your best love or relationships, or all the things that we desire? Would it be worth all that? Really? If you could have everything you wanted, but then 99 times out of 100 you would have nothing, you would die? I don't think so. I think there's better and safer ways to get what we want. But on the other extreme, not being willing to take small gambles. I'm thinking of the people who use hand sanitizer all the time. I'm thinking of the people who are incredibly, incredibly scared of everything all the time. And the ironic thing is that being scared about your health makes you unhealthy. Stress and anxiety creates health problems. So, yeah. It's a really interesting video. I've gone really deep on this one. And allowed myself to tangent, but I feel like I'm still speaking very strongly on my topic. Because, I'll set a topic at the beginning of the videos, but there's really a topic in my heart. A topic that I need to speak about in endless metaphors and, a huge variety, cornucopia of words. Like I said, there are many, many champions. And all different kinds of lives that we live, shaped by our strengths and weaknesses, shaped by our childhood experiences, which are so potent. And then we go out in the world and we learn how to reset coping mechanisms. We learn how to reframe experiences. We learn how to heal. Yes, we can go out in the world, work around our problems, work hard, which can create more problems, and survive. But sometimes it's good to just lay here together in the dark and say, hey, let's take care of ourselves. Let's take care of each other. Let's make some progress today. Doesn't have to happen all at once, though it can. Make some progress on our energy centers, on our chakras, on our philosophies, which when we carry all of them out into the world will bring us so much more success, so much more of what we actually want. I do advertising, and if I put out the same ad every day, I'll get pretty much the same results, right? The funny thing is, if we go out there with the same energy into the world every day, we'll get the same, more or less, results that we've gotten before. So do that. Take time for your individual needs, your individual energy centers. And at this point, deep into the video, I'd like to give you some practical advice on chakras. This will be a reward for those of you who listened to the soul and the tangenting part of this, to get some practical advice too. Like I said, I front-loaded this day with healing, not with practical things, and I guess I front-loaded this video the same way. So, take a look at it. Look at your proprioception, your inner sense of your physical self, your feelings of your body, where all of your emotions are kept. Look at yourself as one complete being. Notice your feet, your hands, the top of your head, your back, your butt, the part of you that's laying on the ground, the part of you that's in the air, your aches and pains, your strong good feelings, your breath, your heartbeat, everything. Just feel yourself. The information that's coming to you from your nervous system, from your body. You may hear other sounds, feel other sensations, see things that you know are outside of your body, smell things that are coming from you, and smell things that are coming from the world. But for now, focus on your sensations of yourself. At some point, when you do a lot of this, you can open up and dissolve the boundary between yourself and the rest of the world to consider everything you sense as part of yourself, because ultimately it is. However, for now, just take breaths, moments, pauses, and experience yourself, your physical sensations as translated, transposed to your mind through your nervous system, through the energetic little cells that send electrical signals throughout you constantly. And there's a give and take. Your mind is constantly accepting information, electrical information from your body, and it's constantly sending out advice and instructions of what to do. I don't know enough about this, but I understand that certain procedures are automatic, that there's a part of your heart, part of your stomach that has a lot of neurons going on in it. They say there's as many neurons in your stomach as there are in the brain of a cat. And as we know, cats have a pretty interesting mental life. They're certainly deeply intuitive, as our stomachs are, as our guts are. So I'm very curious if any of you know more about that subject. Please leave a comment and let me know about what it's like for the heart and the stomach, how they interact with the mind, but also kind of have minds of their own, and to what extent they do, or to what extent all of our bodies do. Our bodies are made up of organs and cells, and our cells each, have an individual life, though they all contribute to the life of the organism. So it's really fascinating. I promised you some practical advice, and now that you have reached into yourself, felt everything, accepted everything, don't feel good or bad about it, don't judge anything. I can feel a pain in my knee right now, or I could feel a tightness in my throat right now. I can feel the spot where my head's hitting the pillow that's a little bit cramped. I could reset that as I just did. However, simply accept all of the information that is coming into your mind. Breathe. Now, practically, with your breath or with your hands, you can touch your root chakra. This is your perineum, the part of you that sits on things. It's known as the taint. It's known as the area between your anus and your sexual organs. This area, of course, involves the anus. It involves your legs and hips, the foundation of your body, the letting go, the excretion, the basic primal foundations of you, your basic survival needs and everything. You can breathe into it, you can touch it to feel a sensation there. Touching it from the outside gives you a certain amount of physical stimulation that can help your brain focus on that area and what it needs. Energetically, your brain can give it good advice. Your brain can get information from this area and then send information back. But I'm not going to focus on the first chakra and go through the chakras as I have, 1 through 7 through the rainbow. I did that a couple days ago, and you can check out that video. However, connect also with your creative chakra, with your second chakra, with your sex organs, with your creative center, with the lower part of your belly and the upper part of your genitals, I guess. It's hard to make a distinction there, but people make a distinction between the foundational survival elements at the base of your spine and the creative elements, intuitive creative elements in the bottom of your belly. As I've spoken about in previous videos, I'm still figuring this all out, but below your belly button is certainly your second chakra, and I would say below your perineum is your first chakra. Though there's a nuanced and delicate boundary there that I'm still learning about. The cool thing is, what I want to talk about today in the video is boundaries, is boundary chakras. If your first chakra is red and your second chakra is orange, think about an orangey red, dark pumpkin-y, or even redder color. Somewhere between a pumpkin and a tomato, I guess. Think about that color and think about blending the energy between your foundational root chakra, where you're rooted into the ground of the universe, and think about the second chakra, where, people want to be rooted into each other. And think about the interface between that area. The perineum might be a good place to focus, or a little bit above or below. And think about that area between survival and your foundational needs and your need to create new life and bond with other people, to create art and music, to create businesses, to create freedom, to create who you are, your lifestyle, and your identity. Freedom and lifestyle belong in another boundary zone, and we'll get that in a minute, but I hope you can feel that in-between place between your first and second chakras. Use the rainbow colors as a good visual metaphor for combining creativity and rootedness, combining your lower abdomen and your extreme lower abdomen at the base of your spine. Combine all that. Now, let's look at another combination chakra, another in-between chakra between your creative lower abdomen and your confident upper abdomen. We're still below the rib cage. The third yellow chakra is below the rib cage, near the top of that area. It's an area where your mind sends a lot of information to your organs. There's lots of nerves branching off from your spine going to all of your abdominal organs. And when we're confident, we stand up tall and we expose our soft underbelly to the world. As I've said before, this is important for two-legged creatures who used to be four-legged creatures. We have vulnerable areas, and it's a trade-off. The benefits of walking upright are traded off with, vulnerability. Our organs that in four-legged animals are tucked far away in a safe place. These organs are now exposed. Our bellies are exposed. And it takes great confidence to be that vulnerable. Of course, standing on two legs, works very well for using our hands, for interacting with the world, for manipulating tools, for climbing and reaching. It frees our hands up to do lots of stuff, but it is at the expense of some vulnerability. You may have noticed that animals can often be more confident than humans, especially the four-legged cousins that we have in the primate world, even though some of them will alternate from 4 legs to 2 legs, which is fascinating. Anyhow, that's your physiology. There's a vulnerable belly that you have, and you're confident when you really open it up. Really put your shoulders back, your chest out, stand up tall, and let your stomach be vulnerable. Combine that with your creative chakra to create a lifestyle, an identity, a persona, a deep, deep identity that is as close to your truest self as it possibly can be, and possibly changing and growing every day into more and more of yourself. And really feel that bravery. You can associate a light orange color with it, of creative confidence, creative identity. Create yourself anew every day, more and more and more, better and better and better. More grander, more special, all that stuff. Now, you know where your yellow chakra is, under your rib cage. Combine that with your heart chakra, and breathe or touch the space in between. The heart chakra is green, and the confidence solar plexus chakra is yellow, but the place in between I think of as like a lima bean color, a greenish yellow color. A very light yellowish green, maybe a mint leaves in the sunlight. It's one of my favorite images, is all kinds of leaves, how they look in the sunlight. It's a combination of green and yellow, but whatever works for you. Remember, the colors are just metaphors, and use whatever metaphors and placebos work for you to open up your physiology. But focus on that area. For me, I like to feel my heart, and I like to feel the uppermost part of my belly, right where my rib cage starts, the lower kind of boundary between my rib cage and my belly. Feel that area and feel my heart, and then feel in between, and really get into that light green metaphor between love in the heart and confidence. Have love, but be confident to share it. Have confidence, but have compassion for others. Don't be so confident that you stumble over other people to get what you want. Find ways to get exactly what you want, and for other people to get exactly what they want. Go beyond competition without giving up the desires of the things you're competing for. Simply find your win-wins. So, do that. Enjoy that. Enjoy what it's like to be confident about love. Go out there and give love to people. Accept love from people. Risk getting hurt. Of course, become skillful in relationships and understand how to avoid painful relationships, how to let them go when they become painful so that you don't spend any more time there than you need to. But accept the pain that can come and often does with relationships. It's a gamble, as I said earlier, that pays off large. Sometimes you get hurt, but you can also experience wonderful, wonderful things. It's maybe the exact opposite of that gun with all the bullets in one dud. You know, love can hurt, but it can also feel very, very, very good. Maybe a better metaphor would be that of the rose. People use the rose metaphor, that it's very beautiful and it smells great, but you're going to poke yourself on the thorns. A skillful person may learn how to pick up a rose, you know, how to smell it without, how to touch it, how to feel it. You know, feel the velvety petals on your cheek without the thorns. If you put your hand on a rose bush, a rose stem, and you feel that there's a thorn, it hurts, but it doesn't have to hurt very much. You can quickly move your hand to a part of the stem that doesn't have a thorn, and you can still smell the flower. The thing about the rose metaphor is that if you grab onto it, you'll hurt yourself. If you clutch onto love at any cost, it'll be very painful. If you clutch onto it blindly without realizing, if you brush up against a thorn, you can feel that tickle, but if you grab down harder, you'll feel pain. That's often true with unrequited love and with loving people who are very, very damaged and hurt us as much as they give us pleasure. So, that's a good metaphor. Let's move on, because this is a really long video. We move from the green and yellow, love and confidence in between chakra, to one of my very favorites, and the first one of these that I discovered. I've heard it called the soul center. It's between your throat, light blue chakra, and your green heart chakra. It's an aqua color, maybe associated with your favorite Caribbean island fantasy or some kind of wonderful thing. And it's the throat, which is speech and communication, because we most often communicate verbally, except those of us who are writers, but that's almost an extension of verbal. It is an extension of verbal communication, and it's almost a direct extension of it. Anyway, between your throat and your heart is the soul center, where you communicate lovingly. I communicate a lot. I love to talk because I'm very stuck in my throat chakra. There's a lot of restriction and damage there that I'm working on healing. And by touching my in-between place, my soul center, I can really focus on strengthening kind of where my collarbones meet my sternum, strengthening my loving communication. My voice comes out deeper and slower, not fast and needy and anxious, and really focusing on that area of myself. I have a lot to learn from this area, and I'm not going to do it all right now, but explore that area and see what you can learn. Also, if you want to use two hands, I'm using one hand right now because I'm holding the phone, but if you want to use two hands on an important chakra, whichever one really speaks to you, really, you know, whichever one really feels needy or tight or blocked, you can always put a hand on both colors. If you're doing green and light blue, if you're doing heart and throat, put a hand on your throat very gently, and on your heart. I find with my throat chakra constrictions, if I put my hand directly on my throat, I can feel like I'm choking, and that'll just exacerbate the problem. I try to touch lightly, almost not touching at all, or touching my jaw, which doesn't feel as constricted, and just letting my hand be an inch or two away from my throat. Maybe focusing on the crease between my jaw and my throat. Putting a very, very gentle hand on my throat and another one on my heart, and allowing a connection to happen between those two. I talk a lot because I'm stuck in that chakra. Not stuck anymore, but I'm, hyper obsessed on that chakra. And I'm learning to talk slower, with more value, with fewer words per minute, but more quality. And that comes from love. That comes from connecting my heart to my throat. Also, You can do the same thing. I've connected my heart to my third eye, which is a dark blue color, according to the color scheme. And, that's inspired, insightful, maybe even prophetic speech. And I'm learning as well to connect those areas. It really helps to touch both of those areas because I don't feel a strong connection between them all the time. I don't always feel a third eye connection all the time. And one thing you can do is focus on the area, touch them both, but focus on the area between them. This could be maybe your upper lip, that little spot. I don't know if you can see me touching it, but between your nose and your upper lip. I know that the people who do energy work with tapping use a tapping point right under your nose, as well as under your eyes, opening up your sinuses, your lower sinuses. So really breathing into that area can help. Not a dark blue, not a light blue, maybe a royal blue that's in between them. And now, finally, people consider the last chakra on the top of your head, the crown chakra that circles your head, I guess. They consider that to be purple. So consider your third eye being activated as well as this area. You can do so by mentally combining blue and purple colors, that dark blue and dark purple of a deep, deep twilight at the end of a sunset, or maybe how water can sometimes look in dim light. Maybe some mornings would look like this, right before the dawn. But a deep connection between your sovereignty, your divinity, and your mental intuition. Not the creative intuition of your second chakra, but the prophetic intuition of your third eye. You might want to touch that area as well as your crown and really think of a connection point. Some people visualize many connection points going up the middle from your third eye all the way to the top of your head, like a line of dots, like some Star Trek creature with dots or spikes sticking out. I don't know if you can see me touching this area, but all the way up the center line from your nose to the top of your head. And maybe there's lots of different chakras there. People say that there are. And I'll be interested to explore more about that. Find an area between your third eye and the top of your head. I'm going to close my eyes and try to do this. Touch both of those areas and then find an area in between. Even just with physical touch from the outside, if breathing up into this area or humming, as I did in the previous video, doesn't reach high enough, that's fine. Maybe somewhere near your hairline or on your forehead, who knows? Maybe up in your hair, who knows? But like a deep, deep, deep knowing that everything is okay, that we are divine, that no matter what we do is okay, no matter how we live our lives is okay. Though we want to see into the future and be prophetic and insightful, so we can make good choices and choose the lives we want, ultimately we are, on some level, choosing exactly what life we want. In a consciousness beyond mind, we have chosen the minds that we have with their limitations. And we've chosen this perfect life, and that's what we have. And that all the game playing and choosing and acting and decision making that we do, all the insight that we have to try to have the best possible experiences for ourselves and others, all of that is simply just a game that we play with ourselves and others. And knowing and accepting in that deep, deep, deep purplish blue color. And now go into the very, very top of your head, into your top chakra. Some people consider this purple and some people consider it white. A white light often symbolizes a divine light. Some people see it as a light beyond us. I see it as an innate part of us. Many religions teach us that there's a white blinding light of God that we're separate from, but if we do all the right stuff, we can connect with it. And I don't know that there needs to be a disconnection. I don't know that we need to imagine a disconnection so we can imagine a connection. Though perhaps that's what being incarnated as physical beings is all about on one level. Though I see that connection between the white light of divinity and us very strong. People feel it right on the top of their heads. Sometimes if they're sitting or standing, they can feel that connecting going upwards with some divine that we see in the sky. Or you can see it maybe if you're lying down as like a star sitting on the top of your head up here. I don't know if you can see me patting that area in the upper right corner of the video there. But anyway, yeah. Get to know your feelings and yourself. Get to know from the very, very divine top of our heads to the very, very practical survival level excretory ambulatory parts of our lowest extremities. So get to know the in-between places. Find your favorites. Touch them directly from the outside with your hand. Touch the two major chakras to either side, which can often help with emotional release, emotional blockage. If you want to do, if you have a creative blockage and you want to add confidence to your creativity, touch the yellow and orange chakras and then feel the healing in whichever one of those is kind of stopped up. Or you can touch directly on the place in between them that we would see as, like light orange, yellow, light gold, or sunlight color. Like a morning sunrise, light orange color. Also, touch from the inside. Use humming and vibration as I've used in previous videos, or just use your breath. You can feel the sensation of your lungs expanding and pushing your organs out of the way and pushing other organs out of the way, and they push other things out of the way, all the way down to your root chakra. I'm trying this right now and getting some success. You can try different poses, sitting, lying down, standing up, all different poses for this, or a combination of breath and touch to reach the extremity ones. Likewise, my third eye chakra and the top of my head chakra, breathing into them with sinuses and paying attention to the subtle physical changes in pressure that happen when you breathe. Feeling that all the way up from your throat to your in-between chakra around the top of your lip, to your third eye chakra, all the way up to the top of your head, and breathing all the way. Feeling what happens. The pressure changes inside your body when you bring in all that air. It pushes things out of the way. It moves your whole body. All of your cells push against each other slightly. Can you feel the pressure change behind your eyes or in your forehead or in the top of your head? So use your breath. Use humming of different pitches and different volumes and intensities. Different timbres, whether you're using the low or the high parts of your voice. Find out which areas of your body respond to which physical touches and which breath and vocal pressure changes and vibrations. Really use all these different, interactions to physically interact with the parts of your body that store different emotions. Use some tapping, especially if you need some deep healing or if you discover something. I like Sonia Sophia, who I met through Brandon Beecham on his podcast. But there are many tapping people out there. They also call it EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. There's lots of people who practice it in everything from sports medicine to psychology to spirituality, woo-woo kind of self-development stuff. So look in a lot of niches for EFT. It's a good way to move ahead. It's another step you can take after taking the personal survey that I've mentioned. You can really open up and accept deeply and work with the areas that you want to heal. So that's that. This is my longest video ever, but I really, really wanted to explain the in-between chakras to you. I also want to thank Rosie Volcano for some of this information that I've worked with and expanded on. She's given a lot of advice about chakras, about humming, about connecting with the different ones. You can find her on Facebook and other places. She's a wonderful yoga teacher. And you can also find some information about the in-between chakras. I would look up chakra numbers over 7. You can Google higher numbers and see what you can find. Different people have different number schemes. Look at the soul center, the one between the heart and the throat. I think you can Google about that. So find all kinds of different stuff in your journeys and explore the parts of this that are the most fun for you, bring you the most healing and pleasure and joy, and let me know. Connect with me here on YouTube, first and foremost. Let me know you're listening, especially if you're a new subscriber, so I can say hello. Also, make sure to use the website, joeneely.net. Go to the community page. That's joeneely.net/community, or just hit the tab on the top of the screen. And the community page is where I let you know all the different ways and platforms that you can use to connect with me and also with each other. So, like I said, this is my longest video ever. It's almost an hour. And I'm going to go to a cafe, do some work and play, meet some people, go out into the world with all this new inspiration and healing and knowledge. I'm also going to upload this video for you, so you'll have it very, very soon. Thank you for spending an hour with me, just lying side by side here in my tent, talking, inspiring, teaching, and healing each other. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.